afternoon, everyone. My name is Dave Scahill. I'm the CEO and founder of the Discovery Stores. We're excited to be here today to share with you the Family Calming Kit webinar. We wanted to have our expert consultant in social emotional development for children, Sandy Ampudia, to be able to lead us through this. Sandy, take it away.
Hi, Dave. Thank you. And welcome to our webinar, The Calming Kit. We'll welcome you to review the materials and to learn more about how we can use these wonderful materials to help children to learn important skills in this during this session. So we are very happy to know that now you have with you all that Calming Kit materials that come along with that guide of the Calming Kit. So this session has the main goal of helping you to go through the different materials and to learn what are the different skills that you can practice with your children. So during this session, we're gonna have a few conversations regarding the importance of helping children to learn how to manage emotions and understand a little bit of how we can support children to develop self-regulation skills. Then, as we mentioned, we have the Calming Kit, and then we're gonna go through all the different materials that you have with you now. So I'm gonna go one by one and explain what it is, what it's important for you to use it, how to use it, and the different ways that we have to present this to our children. So we're gonna go over the breathing chart, to the feeling wheel, to the calming strategy cards. We have a book that we call it Social Stories. We have the self-talking fun, the squeezy heart, and towards the end, we're gonna talk about different activities and sensory experiences that children will love to do with you and is still developing and learning social emotional skills. At the end, we have information for you for comments and questions if you want to reach out to the Discovery Source and look for more materials, or if you have any question regarding the materials. Before we start talking about the social emotional skills, let's think about what it's in it for me. What it's in it for you in front of the computer? In what ways do you think that this training or this session will make your life easier with your little ones? How you can enjoy more the activities with your young children? So what are the benefits we have for this session? And I'm sorry, we're at home and I have my doggy with me. So what is in it for you? Think about what are the benefits? Think about what are the expectations? What would you like to learn out of this session? If you have that chat available, we will invite you to write a couple of ideas, or let's take just a couple of moments to think about what are the expectations that you have for this session. Many of the questions that you may have or the expectations that you would like to get out of this information and the use of these materials is how to help your little ones to manage their behavior better, right? Maybe you just want to know how to deal with the crying, how to deal with tantrums, how to deal with behaviors that you don't know how to handle, maybe because they are disappointed, maybe because they get upset, because they want chocolate milk instead of strawberry milk, and they're escalating this behavior and getting more upset, and you don't know how to regulate this behavior. So that's the reason number one, we put this presentation together, because the materials are wonderful, but we need you as a parent to help the children to reach their maximum potential. How? Using some of these materials. So we all know that our little ones and children throughout different stages, they experience big emotions and they need the support to manage those emotions. Many times they don't have the words or the vocabulary to talk about their emotions. So that's why they act out in a ways that are very inappropriate. But helping them to handle this difficult situation is part of our role as an adults. So we can be very effective solving those situations, doing different things. One of the most important strategies that we can use with children is by modeling behaviors. It's like we need to show them how to respond and how to react. Children, young children, especially 0 to 5, are learning different skills, are learning different abilities. And then if you notice that they're learning how to use their language, how they're moving around, how they're learning the different skills, they're also learning how to control their emotions and how to react to different situations. So helping all the adults that are around our little ones to model how to stay calm is the step number 1 on helping children with self-regulation. Usually, we have a beautiful quote that it says, don't worry about that children, they're not listening to you, but they are watching you. And that's exactly what we're trying to help you to do, is to model better strategies to help children to calm down. Then we're gonna see different activities, games, and strategies to see how we can pay more attention to what they're saying, to listen carefully. And by listening and observing carefully their behaviors, we can present and show them how to use a new world of emotions with vocabulary of feelings and emotions that they can show you and name and label feelings and emotions. And last but not least, we're going to show you wonderful materials that we have to teach children how to calm themselves. And that's the beginning of self-regulation skills. So now that we know what are the expectations for all of us sitting around this session, let's think about what it's in it for the kids. So what it will be the benefit that your children will receive after you complete this session? After we go to all the materials in the calming kit and we review the different skills and strategies that you can use. Think about, can they express themselves better? Can they manage their anger and impulse in a more appropriate ways? Can they learn different games and have different options to learn how to distract their attention to something more positive? So yes, that's what we're planning to do by showing you how to use the calming kit. Children will learn a lifelong skills because what we're gonna present to you through the different items and materials that you have with the calming kit are lifelong skills that children will get, not only for this time, but for the rest of their lives. It's gonna prepare them better, not only cognitive and academically for next steps, but socially and emotionally. So children will learn how to use breathing techniques to calm down. And that's the most important component before we start learning other strategies. They're gonna recognize and identify different emotions so that they can use key emotional vocabulary to communicate their wants and needs. They also are going to learn and implement some strategies to self-regulate and to calm themselves. We need to teach them that powerful skill of self-regulation, because sometimes we can control situations, but it's under our control. We need to give them that control, that they can take over their emotions and that they can calm down. And the other part that we're gonna cover is the use of the positive language to talk and to process feelings. along with different activities that will help children to release their energy using socially appropriate activities. So let's start with our materials. So I'm gonna invite you to take the materials next to your computer and bring this first book, that is the Calming Kid Guide. And then that first part that we're gonna start reviewing now is called Teaching and Learning How to Calm Down. So for this activity, we have this material that looks like a chart, right? And it has that title of Let's Take 5 Deep Breaths. You're gonna see this in English and in Spanish. And in the back of the chart, you have a poem that we're gonna show you in a minute how to use it. So it's really important for children to learn how to breathe, because that's the step number 1 to start relaxing. So often we ask children to calm down, and then we start asking them questions. What do you do that? How you can solve this? What are you gonna do next? But we're missing the most important step of breathing. So let's review how we can use these materials to help children to take a deep breath. So if you look at your Calming Kid Guide, and then we go to page number 3, you're gonna find exactly the same information that now we have in the screen. So I'm gonna follow the guide that you have, but I'm gonna show you where you can find this information. So for the breathing chart, what we would like for children to learn is how to calm themselves with 5 deep breaths. It is important for children to learn how to take deep breath, because that's the first step that will help the heart and the brain to get the oxygen that they need to decrease the tension, and then the mind will calm down and get ready for the next step. So you have that chart, and then you also receive 5 little pieces of breathing exercises. You can use Velcro, different pieces of Velcro to put over the chart and over the individual exercises, or you can use masking tape or any kind of tape that you have available. The main idea is that the children can use and manipulate these pieces and these elements, because you want them to be a very active piece of the activity. It's not just showing them how to breathe. It's that you're gonna help them to breathe with you. So first, you're gonna practice with your child how to take a deep breath. Then if your child understand how to place their hands in their chest and their belly, and then you invite them to take a deep breath, and then to slow down and little by little just blow out the air. So you need to find different ways to practice the exercise of breathing. Maybe at the beginning they don't know the vocabulary of inhale and exhale, so you can do a practice with them. You can say, okay, let's smell, so like the cookies, like when you smell the cookies, and then that's the exhale, right? And then let's blow the air like we're blowing the candle of your birthday, and they will blow. Now you can offer the support of putting their hands over their chest and belly and repeat the exercise. You need to practice this ahead of time. Don't wait until you see that your child is upset or is getting upset to look for the materials and practice, because it's not gonna work their magic. We need to practice first. So start practicing how to breathe in and out, and then bring that breathing chart and say, okay, what about if we practice this 5 times? Then you're gonna ask the children to do this, and then as they're going to complete the exercises, you invite them to place the different number 1, number 2, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. So that's that general idea of the visual, because children would like to have something in their hands. When they have something in their hands and they have a visual to follow, it's easier for them to complete the task. That's why we invite you to use the breathing chart. Then you see that in the back of the breathing chart, we also have a poem by Dr. Gigi Morales-Davy, and it's sometimes children like to repeat chants, poems, words. It's easier for them to remember what to do when they already learn something. So we can practice this and help them to complete the breathing exercises. We also listed there a YouTube video with Elmo. It's called Belly Breath with Elmo. Our little ones, especially toddlers, love Elmo. So that's the link in YouTube for you to show them and practice with them. And then after we practice, you can use this as a preventive method of tantrums. So when you see that your children are getting upset or they are reacting because they didn't like something, then you can bring the breathing chart and say, hey, what about if we practice the breathing exercises? Remember that you can have some of this and then take this, 1, 2, 3, are we ready? Let's start doing the exercises. And then ask the child to place their little breathing exercises on the chart. And when we finish with the 5 exercises, give them some positive praising. Let them know that they did a great job breathing in and out, that now how do they feel, if they feel more relaxed. Now let's think about what happened before or what we're gonna do next. So that is our material for learning and supporting children how to breathe in to calm down. Now, the next part is going to talk about teaching and learning children about the emotional intelligence and the emotional literacy. So for this part of the session, I'm going to invite you to bring this cards with different faces. And then you have the feeling wheel that you can add either a piece of paper or a little spin to the card so that you have a feeling wheel. So what is so important for children to see different feelings and emotions? So let's review our feeling wheel. Our feeling wheel has 10 different feelings and emotions, and it is bilingual. You will see English and blue, Spanish and orange. So you will have the names of all the emotions, and then you have the expressions, right? And then you have a beautiful picture of a child playing with the feeling wheel. Remember, all these materials can be used when you're playing with children. Teaching skills, social emotional skills, and context is easier for children to use and practice. So here in your Calming Kid guide, we have the learning about feelings and emotions in page number 4. So after we finish with the session, if you just want to review what are the ideas and how we can use the feeling wheel and the feelings and emotions bingo game, here is the information for you. So the main idea of this elements of the Calming Kit is to help children to develop key emotional vocabulary. Children do experience strong emotions, but they don't have enough vocabulary to express those emotions. Think about the words that they use to express their feelings. They know the two extremes. They know happy and sad, right? Or they know happy and mad. But everything in between, like the ones that we have listed here, feeling scared, feeling sad, feeling excited, feeling surprised, loved, disappointed, they don't know how to use those words. And these are different situations that make you feel different way. That's why when you when children see you mad, they ask you, Mommy, are you sad? Because they don't know any other word. They know you're not happy, but they don't know you're mad or angry, right? So that's why it's important for children to have the opportunity to learn the different vocabularies so that they can identify feelings in themselves and then in others, so that they engages that part of the brain that can lead to the self-regulation step next. So how we can use the feelings and emotions. So first, we can have a lot of games and activities, just spinning the wheel or pointing to different faces and playing around of what is this? Can you make this face? Let me see your face. Show me. And then you can have like a mirror, or you can just sit in front of your child and then spin the wheel and look and see, what is this? Let's do this face together. And then name that feeling and then talk about the emotion. What makes you feel this way? What we can do when we feel this way? How do they look like? And then have a conversation about the different emotions. Also, you can play with the children the feeling wheel. And then you can have the feelings bingo. So let's say we're gonna look for, then that children have the bingo, and you say, okay, who has excited faces? And then they can identify the excited face and place either pieces of paper or plastic chips or something on the bingo game. And every time that children have the opportunity to practice the use of the vocabulary, we're gonna let them know. For example, practice presenting the vocabulary of words like one at a time. Don't go crazy and try to work with 10 words at the same time, because they're gonna get confused. Let's target one word per week and talk about that feeling and emotion. What makes you feel excited? And then what is the face? How do you look like when you're excited? And then when something happened throughout the day, let them know. You can say, hey, you look so excited when you're getting ready to eat that cupcake, isn't it? And then they're like, oh. So it's like a matching game. And then you're bringing the vocabulary of that game into that context, so they can make that connection and they can listen to the word several times in different contexts in a way that they can learn the word and start using the word. Okay, now we're gonna go over the self-regulation skills and more calming strategy cards. So you receive these mini cards that come, they have a little hole here. So you can either use a ring or band-aids and have like different groups of strategy cards around the house. If we're gonna go over our calming kit guide, if we go to page number 5, then we're going to see the description and explanation of the strategies for the calming strategy cards. The main idea is to give children opportunity to have different ways to calm down, right? So this is calming strategy cards have different visuals that children can use, practice, and then have that choice of looking for something that will help them relax and calm down. So how we can use these cards? So the main idea is that at the beginning, you can present the different activities and the different options that they have. If we go over the guide, you go to page 6, 7, and 8, you will have a brief description of each of the strategies there. So you can talk about how it feels when you have feelings and emotions and what are the kind of things that you can do to calm yourself. And then you can present, you say, oh, you know what is this? What do you think this boy is doing? Do you think that we can try that? Can we stretch our body that way? And then you can help that child to practice a couple of strategies. You're gonna find that some of them are their favorite activities. And then if they're getting upset because you're asking them to do something, you can say, okay, you don't wanna do this, let's try one more. And then give them choices for them to access that calming strategy cards and then that they can use it. The idea is that you keep this at the child's reach. The material is very is a child-proof material, so the main idea is that children can use the materials when they feel like they need an activity to calm down, and then that you can find different ways to help them to regulate. So we review the breathing techniques, and then here you have a couple of wonderful ideas of how to practice some of them with the children. So let's review some of those. The habitats, it's trying to bring positive memories, happy moments to the bad moment. You know, children are easy to redirect if we as an adults can remain calm and offer choices. That's the other key point about the use of these strategy cards. Like you can ask a child, like, what would you like to do? When you give that child that power of choosing, and they say, I wanna play with my Play-Doh. It's like, okay, it's your choice. So they will do it because that was their choice. That was their option. So having like a photo album of happy moments, birthday parties, trips, family reunions, just talking about happy moments. Did you remember that day that you were eating this delicious ice cream? What was your favorite flavor of the ice cream? Then you will redirect that child to a happy moment. And then from there, you can use any other strategy. You have a couple of stretch, yoga, and relaxation techniques that in today's days is part of the children's life. They love to practice many of these activities. And then you have different choices to look in the internet for yoga positions for children. If we have plenty of yoga positions related to animals, and children love to play, to do the frog, to play different animals. And then also you have different choices to offer. And we're gonna review the blowing bubbles and the sensory experiences later. But also towards the end, you notice that we have two big active strategies, such as jump, walk, and push. So yes, you won't think that pushing or jumping is an activity that will help children to relax, right? But so often, young children need activities that will help them to release all the energy that they have. So asking children to jump in place or to jump in different ways will help them to release the energy and to have the organized movement to help them to calm down. The same way with walking, we just want to walk around and then listen to what is happening outside or looking for something specific that will redirect that child's mind to something else. Also with the push, you're gonna find different strategies and different exercises of how to help children to stretch and push all that kinesthetic joints, like pushing this wall. You wanna make a bigger room? Okay, let's push, push, push this wall for a little while. Then you'll notice that they can release their energy and then you can redirect. After they jump, they push, they want a sip of water, they want to sit and read a book, so they can calm down in different ways. Now, the first part, the next part is going to talk about the self-worth. And this piece is very important for you to consider because we need to remember that young children from 0 to 5, they need to have their own self-confidence. They need to have that confidence to know who they are, what are things that they like, what are things that they dislike, what are things that they can do, and what are things that they're learning how to do. So this is an important piece of our calming kit. For this part of the self-worth, I invite you to bring this book that it's called Calm Down. And then in your guide, you have page number 9 to see how we can use this book as a social story. What is a social story? Because that social story teaches a very specific situation to children. A characteristic of this book is that it's written in first person. So when you read it to that child, it looks like he's reading it to himself. So it says, sometimes I feel upset and angry. And sometimes I feel overwhelmed. And then the story says how they can use the different strategies, what are things that they can do. So it says, I can count to 10, or I can take a break, or I can go and take my other strategy cards and find a way to calm down. The general idea is that you can empower your child to know that they can do things. What are the different activities and what are the different strategies that they can remember to use when they start feeling upset. It is important for children to know the difference between how they feel when they're calm and how they feel when they're stressed. And then when they find that difference and they know how they start feeling upset for something, then they can look for the different strategies or solutions. And then if you're helping them to have these materials accessible, they'll look for the materials and then you'll see how they're gonna start self-regulating many of the behaviors that before you need to take control over the behavior. Now you're gonna take control over the materials for children to develop the skill to calm themselves. So the other material that we have, and if we look into your calming kit guide, is called the self-talk, the self-talking phones. So for the self-talking phones, it's the idea is always to build positive language into the child's brain. So we need to teach children to be positive with themselves. We need to teach them how to be positive, how to regain control of their emotions in a positive way. And they don't learn this by themselves. We need to teach them. How? We need to talk to yourself once in a while, right? So we can have different games and conversations because positive self-talk is our inside voice. And we need to train that voice to be a positive voice. We can say to children, oh, you know what I really love about yourself? You are so strong and you have a beautiful smile and you're lovely. What else do you think you have? And then you can help the children to have a positive self-talk. We can play games and then they can talk to themselves. Maybe when they're upset, they just want to go and take the phone and talk to themselves. And that's another way to release their energy and to release their feelings and emotions. Also, as a part of the different strategies to calm down, we have the use of Play-Doh, right? And squeezing things. So you have the squeezy heart, and then here in your calming kit guide, if you go to page number 11, you have something that we call it the healing heart. And then the main idea is that you can train your child to have something that they can squeeze, because sometimes you see children that are so upset that they want to squeeze something, right? They want to squeeze the little brother, they want to squeeze your leg. Well, now they can squeeze the little heart, right? And that is squeezing and just having that moment of having something that they can hold hard in their hands is going to release that stress energy that they have when they're under a stressful situation, either because they want to fight the situation or they want to fly the situation, right? Then having the possibility to do something that is appropriate, like squeezing this toy, then after they release the energy, we're going to help them to hold the heart very gently and talk about the feelings and then the emotions and how at the end they need to feel love, either if they feel strong emotions or they feel lonely or they feel sad. So that's why you have your healing heart and the materials with your calming kit. Then last but not least, we have a couple of wonderful sensory experiences and activities that if you go to your calming kit guide, pages 12, 13, and 14, you're gonna find another way to help children to keep practicing breathing exercises by blowing bubbles. Children love to blow bubbles, even inside. Now you have the mini bubbles that you can have. And here you find different ways and recipes to do bubbles, right? And then bubbles are important for children to practice because it's a great way to teach them how to breathe slowly. Because sometimes they're in a rush of, if they blow too strong, it's gonna explode, right? And then helping children, because remember, the breathing exercise takes time for children to learn. So blowing bubbles is an excellent exercise for breathing techniques. Also playing with any kind of Play-Doh. Also here we have a choice of different recipes to do Play-Doh at home, and releasing energy by squeezing and shaping that dough. It will take their mind away from the problem or from the stressful situation. Also, children love to draw, right? So children will calm themselves and their mind through coloring or drawing pictures. Also, they're gonna practice their fine motor skills. They don't need to complete a perfect drawing. That's not the idea. Or a coloring without getting out of the lines. The idea is that children can use and release this art activity and then releasing their energy and redirecting their energy to something that will help them to relax. And after they finish with this activity, remember always to praise your children for the efforts, for the activity that they complete, for the breathing exercise that they try, for the calming strategy that they're practicing, for the activity of pushing or jumping that they just finished. Give children positive feedback. Give them praise, positive praise, and let them know good job for what? Good job blowing bubbles. Good job squeezing the Play-Doh and completing a beautiful birthday cake. Give them a specific feedback and always keep in mind that positive language will build positive behaviors. So summarizing our session, time flies and we're getting towards the end of our session. I want you to keep in mind that so often the kids who need the most love will ask for it in the most unloving ways. And you're like, seriously? Is he loving me? Yes, they do. Is that they're learning the skills. They really don't know how to express their feelings and emotions. They really don't have a solution for the situation. They really don't know how to react to the situation. So keep in mind that they're always looking for your love and attention. And if you always have something positive and lovely to support them with, they're gonna keep growing on skills. So now remember that you have all these tools to teach them how to take control of their own emotions, how to calm down and start the self-regulation skill, and then give them a chance to play with the materials that were developed for children to use, for you to have the ability to start giving them more time and more practice. Give the materials in different places around your house so that they can use it when they need it. If they're not upset, just keep practicing, because practice makes perfect. And then when they need it, they'll have the resources. Remember that our main goal is always to have healthier, happier, calmer, and self-regulated children. These are skills that they're gonna have with them for the rest of their life. So thank you so much. We greatly appreciate your time during this session, that time that you're gonna invest using the different teaching strategies as a part of the calming kit. And then if you have any questions or comments, we're gonna give you different information when you can reach out for the discovery source and experts to answer your questions. Thank you, and my best wishes using the calming kit. This is the website for the discovery source, and that's Dave's contact information in case that you want to know more about our materials. Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate your time, and good luck.